So let's start. Today we're going to talk about time management, and in comparison to Leo, I am not very good at. Sorry, Leo, no. Okay, messing up. So in comparison to Inder, I am not very good at time management, and I think he can make me learn today. So let's. So first of all, Inder, can you tell me like why is time management important to a tech guy, or a normal person? So let's keep things a bit tech specific. So all the tech guys out there, so why time management is important for you?
Hmm.
In the can answer. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think in um, when it comes to freelancers specifically, most of the job people, they have their time managed already. They go to job at a single time every day, and they come back every day on a single like a fixed time. But freelancers have the freedom to work whenever they want from wherever they want. But with that freedom, uh, it also it also brings up a bunch of challenges, which include not being able to distribute your time properly throughout the day, and you end up spending too much time in work and not having enough time outside work with your family and friends, or um, you end up being really like poorly productive. Your productivity goes down, you get distracted really easily, and all of these things naturally happen, especially in today's world when attention spans of each individual are shrinking down at a record rate. So it's very rare for a person to sit down and work for a constant period of time without getting distracted, without looking at an Instagram post or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. And and being freelancers and being remote workers, where we basically sell our time. Time is money for us in the most literal fashion. It becomes really important for us to make sure that we are making best use of our time. So I guess that's. But is that tech specific? I don't know. I mean, because we sit on computers, so time management for us is a hard. I can imagine someone working um, as a massage therapist would have less problems in managing time than someone who's sitting in front of computer, because our toy and our tool of work is the same.
Hmm. Yeah, I can totally relate to that, and I think personally me, I'm like super distracted due to the toy we have at our hand. Actually, toys we have in our hands most of the time. So far, like maybe I don't understand this fully, or maybe I don't you know I don't know, maybe it sometimes feel time management is more of a a problem. Yeah, doing time management is more of a problem for myself rather than managing the time itself. Do you think where I'm getting at?
No.
Okay, so managing time becomes more hectic than the time management itself. Do you understand what that means?
Still no.
Oh, that's fine. I'll try more. So for me, uh, keeping my time in free flow, like sometimes nothing organized, is more like a more like adaptive or more like a comfortable process for me, and it like it keeps me happy and it keeps me maybe that is what I'm liking the unmanaged thing. But time management sometimes is hectic for me, like managing my time, that I have to do something at this point of time and I have to do after that something after that. So sometimes it is productive, but sometimes it's me, like I find it hectic, like it, it's a bit
That's
problematic.
yeah. That's a that depends upon what technique. So I think I know what you're saying. Um, just a second. गौरव the laptop ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ. Gaurav, can you use headphones or lower down the volume? Anyway, so what I was saying was that yeah. So yeah, I understand what you're saying now. That there's a specific kind of time management, right? Where you decide your timetable that on this time you're going to do this work, and this time you will wake up, and this time you will not you will go to sleep, like all that. That's just one kind of time management which I kind of which I use to my advantage, but I don't think that's the only one, and I don't think that's the best one, um, especially for a creative work. You can't sit down and write a poem.
Mm,
You have to be in that mode. So similarly, you can't sit down and design something or
mm,
come up with the solution. You have to be in free flow. So I think that problem is with the technique that we use for time management rather than time management itself.
I see. So can I like consider my work as all-time art? Is it like possibility?
It's art is like that's a very subjective thing, right? So, but it's nevertheless creative most of the times.
I see.
Like many times you have to sit down and not type the code, but just think about how to solve it.
Mm,
Okay, they
yeah.
like there are works, for example, like the solutions that we have gone through so many times that we basically repeat them, or we know what the solution is and we just have to execute it into the code. All of those things can be different, right? But at least on the back end side, coming up with that solution, um, it is a creative pursuit.
Mm, I see. So, like, you are, I think you're a good advocate of time management and you're trying to manage your time like in better ways. I think every day you're trying to do that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, like I'm not trying to manage my time like that. I'm just trying to get 7 hours of work done every day. So my time management is only up to that point at this stage. So as per
So how do
you,
you do that?
so I do that by deciding some time slots in which I have to work,
Yeah.
and I try to avoid, you know, those. So I keep myself entertained with some breaks, which keep my free flow happy thing.
Yeah.
And after that, I have some fixed work hours,
Mhm.
and the blend of these two things are working charms for me for now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a time management strategy, right? So you have a specific slot of times where you would work, and then you make sure that you are taking breaks in between, and then one thing that you would do if you want to make sure you're getting 7 hours a day is that you measure how many hours a day I have worked today,
Hmm.
right? So these three things, these are like, okay, that's a time management strategy right there.
Okay.
So so it's different from it's not even like like highly different from the normal time management that you were talking about earlier, right? That
Yeah.
in like wake up at this time, do this work at this time, do that work. Like it's not radically different. It's just that okay, I have these time slots where I will work,
Hmm.
and these time slots where I won't.
Hmm. So, what's the typical difference? What do you think, like, about in a person who manages time, like having only 9 to 5 schedule of work, and somebody who's having different slots for different kind of like having breaks and different slots for work. Like having multiple slots between 9 to 5 and continuous 9 to 5. Like both are like different kind of time management, and what should we like choose in a daily life, or you can say a tech developer who wants to do good and manage his time better? What should
Whatever
we?
work, whatever works, right? Everyone is a bit different, and it's always hard to be disciplined. Like it's never going to be like, just because of entropy, you know entropy of, what I can say, attention span. I don't know. Like it's just by default the ball rolls down. So if you just let it be, for most people you will be indisciplined, and to be disciplined you have to make effort. And like, best thing that we can do, but to be disciplined is to make an effort. But sometimes to be disciplined is also going against short-term happiness, and I would come to that on short-term versus long-term happiness on that. But to put an effort towards discipline is almost always going against short-term happiness. So what you do is you find a discipline in which, um, there is least trade-off, there's least effort, that something that you're already naturally in tune with.
Hmm.
When it comes to 9 to 5 jobs, those are specifically meant for large group of people who have to work together. So they have to be on the same time. So someone else manages time for them. Okay, 9 to 5, these many hours you work, and then you have a break, and then you work again. And you all of you have to work together on the same time. So we can't really fine tune time management for a single person in those scenarios. So, but in our case, where we are mostly working on an island and there is some handshake throughout the day, but more or less we are just working separately. So we can fine tune our discipline by on what that helps us better. I have tried both. I have tried 9 to 5, and it was amazing. By 5 o'clock, I can go out. We used to play football and do exercise and all that kind of stuff. And there's just a lot of benefit to that as well.
Yeah. So, getting back to basics, like for a person who have never tried time management, like really did give a thought to it. So, what should be like first thing in his day, that if he wants to start time management, what should be first thing she should do?
I'm still learning. I've tried a lot of things, but the recent thing that I'm working upon is like, it's kind of a hack. So what I have found, at least in me, is whatever I measure, it automatically gets managed.
Hmm.
So if
Can
I'm
you?
measuring,
Okay, please continue.
yeah, if I'm measuring my weight, I'm able to manage my weight. Somehow it just happens automatically. Like I don't have to put effort on it. If I'm measuring my uh, time, like I just don't, like I wouldn't make any effort. I would just write down where I spent the time whole day. And or in this case, I get someone's help to write it down. And after a week, it's just automatically, the productivity starts increasing, my time starts getting managed, and it just happens automatically.
I see. So, just looking back, that how your time went in a past day or past week, you can manage that time management thing better in the next week.
Yeah, it just happens because when I have to, like, I think it's self accountability, that at the end of the day I will look at a chart and there will be the red circles where I kind of wasted time off on YouTube videos and all. So I would have those circles in it, and it just gives me a feedback to my brain that automatically next day, I would be I want, at the end of the day, at least subconsciously, I want to have less of those red circles.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, like if you like, the biggest problem I'm facing right now is that I don't have my finances managed, and the only thing that I'm going to do about it, at least from now, like only thing I've started to do about since like last 2 months or so is starting to measure it, where I spend my money and like where I get it and how much I earn each month. If I just write it down, it just gets managed. I start earning more. It comes into play.
Hmm. So first with time and then with money, and there might be some more thing as well which needs management, right? So doesn't come like for me thinking at this first instance, it becomes hectic for me even thinking about it. Okay, first of all, noting all the time that when I did what, and after that managing money, that okay, I spent 13 rupees on that and everything. It's a pretty long list to do, and doesn't that sound scary or hectic to you?
Yeah, so what I have found, so I have tried both ways of time management, which is like scheduling and this one, where I just take a note of it and then shift hours accordingly. So scheduling is where I say that every day I will work these hours, and the other one is that you are also using that every day I should be working this amount of hours, right? And in both the cases, what I found is if you get too hard on yourself, if you get too kind of but like too specific about it, you lose. So like not writing like 13 rupees, right? So not going that much into detail. Even now, like noting down my time is not exact. It's like um, it's accurate to the next hour.
Hmm.
So it's not like I have 5 minutes on this, 10 minutes on that, 20 minutes on that. No, after an hour, I just make a guess. Okay, it looks like half an hour is spent on this, half an hour on that.
Hmm. Okay.
So I note down my time according to that, and that's enough because I'm not trying to give an account of every minute of my day. All I'm trying to do by measuring my time is um, to have to have like an overview of where my time went.
Okay.
Yeah, even if it's like 60 to 70% accurate, that's good enough.
That is cool. Hmm. So time management, interesting. So,
Even when I created schedule, it was not like, oh, inne to inne aa kam, inne to inne aa kam, inne to inne aa kam. It wasn't like that. It was like uh, ranges that I was basically I allowed myself to make mistakes, to have chances of failing, and like to keep it a little light.
okay.
Yeah.
So, are you aware of any tools that look at your past day or week and tell you what should you do in the next week?
Uh, the tools that tell you what you should do next week.
Kinda, yeah. Like looking at your past, if you tell, like if you write down that I did this in my past week, and some tool which can tell you that okay, you have wasted time on these things,
Yeah,
and
I mean brain. I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, I don't even write that. So I only have categories: work, leisure, essential, family, friends. Like these are my 5 categories, and that's how I tag my time. इन्हें तो इन्हें work kita, इन्हें तो इन्हें it's a leisure, इन्हें तो इन्हें it's essential, something essential like eating, drinking. So I don't have an exact account of like, okay, I spent this much time watching YouTube. No, it's just I have this much time which I spent on things that were not essential, and that's enough.
hmm. Yeah, just a little side note to Moose. We need to find out like people who manage time versus who people don't manage the time, their productivity patterns and their income levels and everything, and we shall put that clip inside the episode as well. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
J- all the successful people have a schedule, have some kind of schedule. So I understand scheduling is important, but it's just hard.
hmm, yeah.
And if it was easy, everyone would do it. Like I've looked into that. Um, Almost every successful person that we can name here has a schedule, some kind of schedule, some kind of strategy for managing time.
Yeah, there has to be, even if you don't know about it, right?
Yeah, like you might have a different definition. Like you already have a time management strategy. Basically, if you are thinking about where you are spending your time, you have some strategy already.
Yeah. So if I just think at the very core basic level of a child's life, his mother already tells him to sleep, go to sleep when it's night, and tells him to wake up when it's day. So that's some basic time management right there. This is sleep time. This is daytime, and you should not be sleeping. And after that, the divisions come in daytime. That what should you be doing? Are you studying or working or something like that?
Yeah,
So I think it's like, if we look at the long way, it's like wired into every human that if you have to do something, there has to be basic thing. Okay, I'll do this at that time.
yeah. If you have a plan for your day, you're managing your time. How effective it is, that depends, right?
Okay, that is cool. So audience, bring it up. What are your questions? Leo in the house. Sorry, Inder in the house. And let's take the most out of him today. Anybody? Questions? Come on, voice. If you want to ask questions.
One thing about, I think they're typing the questions.
You're making us pause. Please come on, voice, and speak out.
Yeah.
My question is, if we have different categories of work per day, and we are not quite sure of um, at what time do we do the work, or like we're not sure if you get the work at a particular time. So suppose at I don't know if I get a work at 2, but I'm already in some other work. Then I get confused. Where do I manage my time? How do I do it? I get confused, and then I pause the work I'm doing and then go to the other work, and then it's like switching between works. None of them is then done efficiently, and then I end up with a less productive day. So how do I do it? Um, so that's my question. If anyone got it.
Now that went over my head. Leo, if you got it, please go ahead.
Yeah, so you have multiple like you have multiple projects and you're shifting through them the whole day.
Yes,
And
I guess
you
I'm not. Yeah. Yes, yes.
yeah, so you're shifting through them the whole day. And what was I going to say?
Do you want her to repeat the question?
No. um hmm, just a second, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so you have multiple projects and you're shifting through them for the whole day, and that's why. And you do one project and then you shift to, and you're getting a hard time moving to another project. Is that what the question is?
It is also like that, but sometimes I'm not able to prioritize what is important at that moment, and then I shift to the other work, and it's like then in the back of my head I have the other work also, which is also important. Then I'm not able to do the work which I'm doing right now. So it's like continuously in my mind I am doing two works at a time, but I have to do one work at a time, kind of like that. Like
Yeah.
then I have in mind that I'm not managing it, then it's always like I'm not managing it, and then I end up with a non-productive day.
Yeah, so manage it, right? If you're like, so basically what it seems to me is that your whole day is wasted worrying about, oh, I'm not managing my time, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
just manage it. And mm, it's manage it in a very simple way. So But unless so now I am in a manage. I don't know how your work is. I think I have some idea, but the way you're describing it is a little bit different from the idea that I had. So my work is different. I get like I can get the like I can get an urgent work right in the middle of this podcast because I'm a man, like I'm on a managerial position and someone might get stuck in something and I need to look it up like right now. So that's what my kind of work is, and managing that is very difficult. It's just you have to cope with it. But if the work is not like that, you can definitely set up um, like when the day begins you can set up like, okay, this much time I will be working on this much time I will be working on this, unless something urgent comes. And not having to okay, so let me start it this way. Our brain has a very limited capacity to make decisions, to make choices. It's a number. Everyone has a different number, but it's a hardwired number inside your brain. It starts in the morning, and as you keep making choices, um, at the end of the day, you can't make good choices. So that's why it's said that if you want to do shopping or if you want to buy something, if you want to make an important decision, you should make it early in the morning. So if you have a limited resource on making choices and you spend your whole day making choices around hun main ki kara, like that kind of thing, um, then that will end up being very frustrating and you will end up making non-efficient choices. Also, if you haven't slept properly and you haven't slept enough, that dial of number of choices, number of decisions you make by end of the day, that doesn't reset to zero. Like, I mean, it doesn't reset. You have to take the burden of brain fatigue that you gathered yesterday, right? So these two things are, like, scientifically you need to know about these. So if you can, whenever you can, if you can decide about the next day or move that decision process to one end, like just once in a day, or maybe tonight I think about tomorrow's day. If I just write it down in just one decision, that what I'll be doing and when, then I don't have to make decisions throughout the day. And that will help my productivity and that will help me make proper choices.
Yeah, I think we can also break it down by week as well. Like if you have constant projects that are like month or week long, and you
Yeah.
need to you need if you need to deliver like one faster, or if you like if you can amount the if you can understand the amount of work there is by the end of week, and you can divide that work like that way. If you have to like work on a project like 40 hours a week, then you have to really spend time on that,
Yeah.
time on that. And if you have like 10 hours a week for some project, and you
Mhm.
have to just spend 2 hours a day, and you can simply manage time like that. And if you have like decided that you have to spend this much hours in a day, and then you can go ahead with the work that is has higher complexity in the morning, and uh, so on with the easy ones at the end of the day you know
Yeah. Yeah. Just like, I think you have like two projects, right? You just have like Gaurav project, like Code Wizards and Skillshare. That's it. And GSOD, right? So three projects. So what you do is mornings, um, which is like morning should be for most creative work, and like because you have to make choices, right? So morning for whatever is most creative, like creatively challenging. Mornings for GSOD and evenings for Skillshare, you know. So you can do that. So for the whole next week, morning I'll spend on GSOD, afternoons I will spend on um, Code Wizards, and evenings I'll spend on GSOD. Oh, sorry, Skillshare. If you just do that, like the 20 decisions that you make per day about, like, okay, I have done some work on this, where should I move now? Though all of those will be eradicated. It will be like, okay, until afternoon I'm not touching that, until evening I'm not touching that, unless, like, only with one else condition, unless there is something urgent and I have to leave my work, which will happen in our line of work a lot, right? But that's also simple. You already have that in your mind. If it's urgent enough, then you will have to make that choice.
Okay,
Hmm. Okay.
got it.
I think the other two questions: how do you prioritize the work, and once you've got many projects, like many works, how do you do? How do you manage them? Like, I think we've answered both of them, right?
Yeah. How to prioritize which is more important? Um, I mean, what's more important to you,
It's like
right?
first is like deliverables at the earliest, and second is the the kind of work it is. If it's like more creative or hard work, should in the do in the morning. I think
Yeah.
that's how you prioritize.
Yeah. What gives you more money? I prioritize it like that.
Or happiness
Money.
without making clients sad.
Yeah. What gives you more money? No. Yeah. Just like whatever works for you, right?
Yeah.
Um, so something urgent, obviously, would be prioritized highly. But what I've seen is that we end up prioritizing projects more which have more pressure from the client. And the nice clients, we end up prioritizing them less sometimes. I've seen it, even like to even in like among ourselves.
Hmm.
Um,
Is
if
that
if
so?
some if someone is, and I have seen this, like the nice clients, they get deprioritized many times because there is this guy who's standing at our head and shouting on us. Unfortunately, we don't have those clients yet,
Yeah.
like not all the time, but so
It,
we
it
don't
feels
see that.
it's a bit different for me. Like for like a client who like does more, तारीफ लोग कह रहे हैं अंग्रेजी से
Praise.
yeah, yeah. Who praises the most or values me the most. I like prioritize their work, and who shouts me at like shouts at me or like creates tension in the atmosphere. I like kind of automatically deprioritize that. I don't give a shit about this. I want to be happy. Yeah, I think it happens with me. Like
Yeah.
if like somebody keeps me happy and I'll do their work first, kind of. I think I feel so. Yesterday's example. So uh, okay, I think it's not relevant. Let's leave it there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm like consciously we do that. Consciously we all do that. But it's like, and I have seen it like in us as well. So whenever there are clients who are kind of not like shouting or something, but who are like more asking for more regular updates, or
Yeah. Yeah. That
or
kind of
keep,
creates a mental pressure a bit.
yes, so that's what I was saying. So the clients who are ask for regular updates, who keep tabs on you, and I can see if I ask you something, okay, which client would you prioritize? You would consciously say, not that client who keeps asking me every day. But when it comes to work, what happens is that constant pressure ends up ends up like it creates enough mental pressure for us to get that work done first, so that we can look at the other one later. And just being aware of that cycle, I have tried to reverse it, make sure that that does not harm my other clients.
That's cool. Man. I'll try to notice what happens with me. Maybe it's something else than what I feel. Who knows? Any other questions? I see Panda is typing. Can you come on voice if you want to ask quickly?
Hello.
Oh, ooh, hello.
Uh, yeah, my question is like, uh, like I spend a whole day working, like, kamu jadi muka tadi mi.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, matlab, like we discussed that, like how to avoid that burnout thing.
So our brain has a like 100% efficiency of an average of 25 minutes. Like
Mm-hmm.
we can work together, we can work um, constantly for 25 minutes. That's an average. For some it would be 40, 50. For some it could even be lesser, 15, 10, right? But 25 is good enough. um, so that's where Pomodoro comes in. So what you do is you work in set of Pomodoros. You work for 25 minutes, you take 5-minute break so that your brain refreshes, and then you go back and do another 25 minutes of work, and then take a 5 minutes break again. Right? This is called Pomodoro technique, and this helps. Um, this helps them. This helps us. So after 4 Pomodoros, you take a big break because your brain has exhausted a lot, and this is like proven to increase your productivity. Now what happens is that sometimes that 25 minutes is not the right amount for you. Like you need a longer work session for the kind of work you do, so you can make it 50 minutes and 10 minutes. So that's how you can do, but you have to find it. But I kind of religiously follow 25 minutes, and not now, I used to. And I my brain came to a place where without a watch I could tell when 25 minutes have passed, because my brain's efficiency will automatically fall a little. But in those 25 minutes you keep everything away. You don't want to ask anyone any question. You don't want to ask anyone, like you don't want to watch any video unless it's about work, and you don't see any message, you don't respond to anyone. It's called going dark, right? And for those 25 minutes you go completely dark, and you just no calls, not listening to your parents, nothing, right? And that after that, then in the next 5 minutes you do everything else but work. Like you don't work at all, you don't even think about it. You try not to even think about it, and then you come back, and you come back like surprisingly fresh in just 5 minutes. You just walk away from your where you're working, you take a walk for 5 minutes, you listen to a song, you wash your face, you drink a glass of water. Like it even helps in like your eye fatigue and all. So yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
then.
creative block is specifically like the daily creative block. Like when you get, so basically in the evenings when you can't actually, like I can't make more decisions, that kind of thing. um, that is caused by that, but that longer one, um, I'm not sure if there is. No, I'm not aware of what causes creative block.
Okay, so like sometimes I feel that uh, the work is like something about research or something that um, I might not track. Then I spend a lot more than a Pomodoro on that, and I keep working. And even if my brain's efficiency falls down, like I don't notice it. So that that thing,
Yeah, work is work. So you're saying the work you can get money for and the work you cannot get money for,
yeah,
right? So basically that's, so you should always think of it like that. The work you cannot get money for right now. So basically it's learning and researching, right?
yeah,
And that's kind of our policy. Not everyone's policy. Other agencies do charge for that, right? But we don't. Why? Because the work you do for learning and for researching, uh, spe- unless you're basically your job is that, like I have started charging for that at times because I'm asked to do that. Like I'm asked to search about this and find answers about this. That becomes my job,
Yeah.
right? So that's separate, and that I think you also get those kind of work, so you should charge for that. Then if Jay says, like search if make plus can support xyz, or Gutenberg can support xyz, searching for that is your job, so you should be
Yeah, that is.
tracking, keeping that aside. So when you are learning, you are basically investing in your future. You will be paid for that, but in future, and
Yeah.
with much more returns. So so basically you will be able to increase your hourly rate because you spent some time not charging for that work, right? That learning. And so there is no excuse whatsoever to treat the non-earning hours as importantly as the earning hours,
Yeah.
or similarly. So you should still track them. You should still keep a tab on them. Yeah, like my biggest problem right now, which I'm ready to like hire other people and basically pay my salaries to them, is that I don't have time to learn at the moment, and I'm so there's a cost attached to that which I'm ready to pay, and that's why I'm like looking to hire more people so that I can give my work to them, pay them, and then have that 2 hours or an hour a day where I can learn. So in my mind, that hours are even more uh, like they're even more important than what my paid hours are.
Okay.
Beautifully answered, Dio. And but this one question about how do you balance your work life and personal life?
How do I?
How do you balance your work life and personal life?
I don't think there's a like this is going to be very radical. There's It's just life. If you have a perfect work life balance, you're still losing 50% of your life, and that's not acceptable to me. Like why would I just get something like 50% of my life to be gone somewhere, right? I don't want that. So my personal life is my work life, and my work life is life. And that can be hard for other people, but it's just what it is for me. Like they are so intertwined that it's all just life and not something outside of it. And i and i and I like do think it that way. And it could just be about like me nitpicking about how to phrase it. Like I still know that I have to spend certain time in certain activities throughout my day, but it's just that I don't like to phrase it as work versus life. And finding balance between like talking to your friends versus talking to your client is same as finding balance between should I, like the balance that Saib has to find between doing code visits and doing Skillshare, like between two different projects. So it's the same deal to me.
Yeah, so I think all should try to achieve that kind of personal life or work life. So it should be just life. The work should not be seeming
If
like,
you, yeah,
one should not strain the work. It should not be, it should not be hectic for you. Like when work gets hectic for you, then you try to find your personal life different from that work. When you
yeah,
enjoy your work life too much, it's your personal life right there.
yeah. If your work is stealing away your life, change your work.
Yeah.
You should not be doing that. That's like if your work is stealing away from your life and I am going to just repeat it, in the best case scenario, you're going to get just 50% of your life. I mean, is that acceptable?
Yeah, and until you cannot change it, make sure you have personal life, good personal life with your friends and family. But try to change it, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And like one of the things that I liked the Gary Vee said is if you are in a wrong job and you can't change, then get like it's opposite of what Vigas said. Then spend the time outside that job to work on the skills with which you can leave that job.
Yep.
And so it's also like, so there's this um, and Vikas can contradict me on this very much, like we have I'm probably have a different opinion on this, um, is that prioritizing short-term happiness versus prioritizing long-term happiness. Everything we do is a price, like every day we pay some price for some value that we get out of it. Like if we are doing something that we don't like, or if we are getting tired by doing something that we don't like, we are paying that price sometimes because we are getting some value out of it, and the amount and that value kind of exceeds the price that we are paying.
Yeah. So I didn't get it exactly. So
Yeah.
you're saying
I'm thinking of how to.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, maybe you
Yeah.
will make me
So
clear.
for me, like I don't treat things as long term happiness or short term happiness. So at the moment, what makes me happy. So if it's a long term thing, I'll do that. If it's a short term thing, I'll do that. So
Yeah,
it's not something that I have sacrificed this short term happiness for that long term. If I have both things in mind, whatever I want the most, I'll do that. So it's not that if something will make me happy tomorrow, and if that is like too much of worth to me, then I'll take care of it. I will keep the short term happiness. If I don't give a shit about that, tomorrow, and I'll just be happy right now. So it just doesn't have to be always long term or always short term. I think it's what you want the most for me. That's how it is.
yeah.
Hmm. So uh, is that it? Like anything else anybody wants to ask? I think it's time. Also, I think Spotify has some upload size limits, so we should not make this episode so long. Kind of. Shall we wrap up? Are you thinking something to say,
No.
Inder? No. Okay.
I
So
I did
okay.
not get the answer to long-term happiness thing. I did not understand it.
Uh, like from me or from Inder, which one we're talking
Um,
about?
both. I didn't get the point of it. Like
So
talking
yeah,
about Inder was talking about long-term and
yeah, no, we basically we I was basically trying to say the same thing that Vikas said in a very complicated manner, which is something of my weakness. But so basically, yes, exactly what he was saying, that um, sometimes you have to do things that take away your happiness in the moment to give you a bigger happiness tomorrow. And being able to recognize those things is basically what entrepreneurship is. Sometimes you have to pay the price, sometimes you have to invest today more any without any like kind of benefit from it, um, is so that tomorrow you can get a uh, bigger returns on it. And sometimes those sometimes short-term happiness is more important than what you are doing at the moment.
Okay, I'll try to make it really simple. Uh, so what makes you you know most complete at the moment? If it's doing something which will benefit you in long term, if it's doing something benefit you in the short term, whatever makes you complete at the moment. Okay, I did this and it's right. So it's as simple as that. You don't need to doubt yourself on things that it's long term happiness, or if it's short term happiness. Yeah, you just have to be in the moment and enjoy it. If you like, if you think this moment is something you have to like sacrifice for something long term and you value it that much, and then go ahead and sacrifice. If you think you will stop drinking water for these moments and it will benefit you, do it. But if you enjoy that water in this right very moment, go ahead and drink it. It's plain and simple as that. Whatever you want, go with that. It's not like short term or long term, just whatever you want. I'm not sure if I made it simple or complicated, but yeah, that's what it is for me.
I got the answer.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
cool. Uh, hmm. Shall we wrap up then? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we should wrap up. It's been a great episode. Until next time, sayonara.